that to me is really a key word. Like if we do, again, I'm listing 200 homes a year. You got flyer cost. I do advertising in papers. And again, you have to, the title company's there to help you. The mortgage company's there to help you. They're there to help you because they know you're going to be loyal to them. And you pick up the phone and call them, they're going to call you right back because they know you're going to bring them business. If you're not loyal, guys, I'm just telling you that you're not going to get it back. But I'm very, very appreciative of all the different, we got, besides title company, mortgage company, we have movers as one of our vendors, Musker Moving Men. There's so many.
On TV with them.
Yeah, I was on TV with them, but there's so many different, not just the big title company, mortgage companies, ancillary companies that are all part of our whatever company you're with. Support them. I would always say I want to support the guys that are supporting us and our company. And then, but again, if anything comes out of here, I think all of us will say we're very loyal to the people that we work with because they've saved us. I mean, you can pick up the phone, the title company, if you don't know who they are, first of all, if they're out of state, they're not going to answer your phone. Here locally, they're going to answer because I'm going to keep calling them until they answer and go, what's going on here? And you want to have that relationship as much as possible to be your own title company that you're working with, because if it's somebody else's, I know we all can't pick and choose sometimes, especially if you're a listing agent, but the more you have control of your own vendors, the more opportunity things are going to be done on time because there's communication there. So that's my feeling.
We pick them by operational excellence. So as we work on our process and make sure that we understand our process, but it's just, like when we pick the lender, I mean, this is prior to the PFBP coming to town, or they changed whatever. They changed the timeline. Yeah, they used to be that they had to be able to process a loan in 10 days to have a conversation with us. That was the meaning they had to do their business at the highest level before we will consider working with them. Because I know that when their operating efficiency is at a high level, then I can rely on them when we're processing deals at the highest level.
Yeah. Come back to you.
Sweet, I love it.
This is one of our final questions, and we're going to open up to some questions because I know everyone's got a burning desire to ask questions. Hopefully you do. So I've heard, it's ironic, the last couple of weeks I've heard people saying, I got into real estate to have freedom or flexibility, make my own schedule. I think we've all heard that. To just hang out. So I want you guys to give perspective. I'm not saying anybody in here in the room has said that. I'm just saying I think there's a misconception in real estate that it's not really flexible like that. So I want you guys to explain your day, your week. So let's talk about your day and your week, so they can understand what somebody that functions at a high level of production, a true entrepreneur who owns their own business, what it takes to run and function your own business. That it's not so much flexibility, it's not so much making your own hours. I want you guys to give them a flavor of what your day and your week looks like, because I think that's important for everyone to know in here. To function, to be doing 100+ million in volume every single year, you have to be functioning at that highest level. So give us a taste of what a day and a week looks like.
This week? So last night I logged off of Fortnite around 1:12. You should explain it, right? I played duos with these kids from Australia, and they're only 12 and 13, but son of a gun, they're good at it, right? It's like, they have more wins than I do, and, I'm not kidding. It's true. You said explain. I'm into the power hour. Unfortunately, it's usually when I'm stuck on Fortnite. Usually now it's about between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. I get up because now my kid can drive to school, and now I don't have to worry about that. And I focus on getting my mind right. I look at my calendar. I don't look at email. I basically don't ever read email. I have someone else that reads it to make sure that we attend to all the stuff, but email is extremely distracting. But knowing what my calendar, because I calendar every single appointment that I have that's electrically on my calendar, during the morning hours, I get up and I get up and do my business. I look at what's the current inventory on the market, right? 15,899 when I looked this morning. That's pretty damn low, 5-year low in supply, because we got to be on top of our marketplace. But if I had, like yesterday, I had 2 listing appointments, so I had to prepare for those. Usually it takes me about 15 to 18 minutes to prepare for that listing appointment. But then again, because I've been in 17,000 houses, you know what to expect when you get there after you understand that level. Then I go for a walk and I listen to Gary Vee, get all pumped up. Usually the walk is about, 2 miles, 2.5 miles, because I like to get the positive juices flowing. Then I call Phil Sexton. We have the 20 to 30 minute conversation or longer, depending on how my rants are going to be that day. Get some feedback, and I start my day. Get to the office around 10 o'clock. Now sometimes my assistant schedules stuff before 10 o'clock, and I'm usually late by about at least 10 minutes for every appointment. Just being honest, too long. Oh.
Yep, that's a little long.
Sorry.
No, we love it.
Yeah,
And we're
and
only
I
on
leave,
day- we're only
I
on
leave
day
the
one.
office typically
We got
about 5 o'clock to go home unless I have a late night appointment. So.
Wow, way to pass forward.
What was the question?
Yeah.
All right, so I work by myself. I have a great assistant. I don't sleep. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, crazy. We now have 2 little puppies, so that's part of my routine that I'm not forced, but enjoy doing. But really, I get up at 4. I send emails out. My owner, HomeSmart, has been a 24-hour delay because sometimes I don't send the right thing out when I do emails. So I make sure, because they say the wrong thing, but we're careful. But I do some emails. Really, it's 4 o'clock. I go work out, go to the gym 5:30, 6 o'clock, and it kind of varies. I mean, it really depends on the time of the day, but I'm workaholic. I don't have my kids at home anymore. It's a little different when you have kids there. But I also love playing golf, and that's a priority for me for my release. But it's really just working. I mean, kind of boring, but I love what I do, so I make the time to do it.
So full disclosure, I don't actually buy or sell property at all anymore. I guess what you could call me is more of an operating principle of my own business. So I'm highly focused on leadership on a daily basis. First mastering how to first lead myself, of course, and then leading my team. So I'm constantly collaborating with my CEO and my operations manager on implementing new things that we're bringing into our business and making sure that they're scalable across all of our agents so that all of our agents benefit greatly from whatever we're trying to accomplish, as well as making 100% sure that our clients benefit from that as well. But my days look a lot different now than they did when I was an agent. And the truth was, when I was an agent building my business, it was 14-hour days. It was 8:55 a.m. for morning huddle and right into script and objection handling practice. I think you've got to, in order to build skills and create mastery, it requires practice on a daily basis, and it also requires being uncomfortable. So you've got to put yourself in an environment of accountability. That's an extremely, extremely important thing for us, because isolation is a killer in real estate. We will allow ourselves to tell ourselves stories, and we'll start to argue for our limitations. And the problem with arguing for our limitations is it's an argument that you're going to win every single time. So I always put myself in that environment, and I always lead generated from the moment that script and objection handling practice finishes. We would lead generate till 11:30. We'd move into lead follow-up, and then we'd move right into appointments for the afternoon. And full disclosure, a lot of times it meant me doing appointments at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock at night, and it meant me writing contracts at 10 o'clock at night. And I led with revenue as a result of that, and I used that revenue then to parlay it into administrative leverage, which gave me some of my time back and allowed me to focus on the most important things that generated the highest return on my investment of time. And then, going back to what I said earlier, it's a lot more work before it's less work. Over time, I had created enough momentum to where I now have just a completely different control over my day and how it flows and where I can give my attention. So I'm almost afraid that if we give you an overlay of our day at this level, we would be completely skipping over what it took to get here. And I think that's the point we're trying to get at here. So I'll leave it at this. Every day I started with a massive level of intention, and I highly evaluated whether my habits and daily rituals were habits and daily rituals that lended themselves to me being comfortable, or did those habits and rituals need to change to support the goals that I was trying to accomplish?
That was a great point. It's not, it's different, right? And people don't, the one thing people fail to see sometimes is the journey to get there, right? And for me, I never thought, it happened to be my journey to be where we're at. We'll do over 300 million in volume this year with 25 to 30 agents. It still blows my mind, and I'm not even done yet. I have far things in that. But what they don't see is that in 2009, when I went bankrupt and I lost everything, and I had to start all over, and from 2010 to 2014, I was doing 30 hours a week at an open house to start my business back over again. That's what people don't see. Literally, I was in actually one of my agents sent me the funniest photo today. I was in a suit and tie, and I look like I'm 20 years old, but that's what I did every day. I put a tie on every day, and I wouldn't take any appointments. From 11 o'clock until 3, I was at an open house, as much as I possibly could be at an open house. If you want to have coffee, great, we can meet at 9, or I would try to schedule my showings after 3 during the week. During the weekend too, I would try to do everything I could to get free marketing because I didn't have any money, right? So my day when I was hustling and I was grinding and I was in the mode of building my business, which I'm still in, it's just different, I always try to structure my day to where I could be at an open house as much as humanly possible. And I still get at my team. I sent them an email yesterday. What are you doing? Why are you here right now? Go get free marketing. Go meet people. We're in the business of selling stuff. You're not going to sell stuff here, right? So, look, we're all different, right? Like maybe that's not your goal. If your goal is, hey, I joined real estate, my goal is to do 5 to 10 million a year, and I want flexibility to be with my kids and my family. That's awesome, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have kids, and I'm not married, so it's easier for me. But if I had kids, it'd be tougher, right? Like Bobby's kids are moved out. It's easier for him now to probably grind a little bit more than when he had kids. So it all works in your own personal life and what you want. But if you are trying to build a business and you're in real estate, number one thing I'll say is you got to work weekends. And if you're not willing to work weekends, don't be in this business. The second thing is go get the business that's the easiest to get. And that is doing things like open houses. It's free. You get to sit there and meet people. And you're probably going to sell homes from it. So on a level, we're not talking about doing $100, $200, $300 million a year in business. All I can say is grind as much as you can, be available, but be smart with your time and when you take appointments. I see people that are taking appointments at noon, meeting with title reps. Why are you taking an appointment at noon to meet with a title rep? That is so stupid. Meet with a title rep at 8, so you can go do an open house from 10 to 2 or from 11 to 3, right? Like, but what happens is, and let me tell you what happens. Most agents, I've been in big offices that have a ton of agents in there prior to having our team. I see people that look for excuses to say I worked hard today. And that doesn't do it, right? They'll go to work, 9 o'clock, send some faxes, send some emails, go have breakfast with a couple of guys in the office, make a few phone calls, look at a couple deals that they have in escrow, make sure the bins are got in, then they'll go have lunch with somebody. How is that a full day? That's not a full day. You actually did nothing. You got lucky, you got a couple deals, you're working on a few deals, well, go work on more. Just be smart with your time, all right? But you got to grind it out. You got to grind it out. So, I don't know. That was my journey, at least, right?
Let's hear from
So here's one thing I want to that Jason picked up. I'm predominantly a listing agent. It is not a Monday through Friday job. And if you're going to specialize in listings, it's 7 days a week, it's 24 hours a day. They're going to call you, they're going to be pissed. And no matter how many, I've got 50 listings by myself, I'm choking on it. But you're going to get calls, and they're not always pleasant. But if you think you can work Monday through Friday, take vacations on weekends, come back on Monday, this is the wrong business for you. The other thing for me, January, and I did this podcast, which I didn't even know what it was a few years ago. But January 1st, I get nervous because I'm starting it with 0 sales and 0 commission. So I'm thinking in ways that I've got to outsmart everybody. I got to find new marketing ideas. you've got to, you know, and I think you brought up the point, stealing from other people. I'm not stealing money from people, but stealing ideas.
I didn't say steal
but
from
anybody.
anybody.
But you steal ideas, and people that are experienced, we do take stuff from them, we learn from them, because we've had mentors, but it is a 7-day-a-week business, and you've always got to recreate it. I mean, every month, there's something new coming up, and if you stay stale, somebody is going to overcome what you do. But I agree with you. It's a 7-day-a-week business. If you predominantly listing, you're got to be available all the time, and you got to answer your phone.
Here, bring it back. Okay.
Brandon wants.
I got it. Give it.
Brandon's got it.
10 ideas.
So I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention a couple of things here. And there's always a class to go to, right? There's always someone to meet with. There's always more opportunities than there are resources or time to take advantage of those opportunities. And you guys have to understand that every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to everything else.
Yep.
So if you're saying yes to something, you better be sure that that thing is extraordinary and it's going to have the most impact on your business. And one of the biggest things that agents are doing that is absolutely just cutting them off at the knees right now is they're saying yes to everything. You have to say no. Start saying no. Be relentless in your pursuit of what you know that you have to do. And understand that every time you go to a class or you come here, listen, education without implementation is just entertainment.
Yep.
You're just entertaining yourself. You've got to move off of this education and move into action. Relentless pursuit of action and intention. So be very, very wary of how you convince yourself you're working throughout the day. You're meeting with a title rep, you're going to this next class and this next class, and you're hanging out in the bullpen and you're talking about NASCAR. I don't know, whatever it is. But when you watch those people and then you step into the office of a producer, you're going to see a massive difference in intention. And we have a couple of rules in our business. We want our agents to say no, so we give them permission to say no for now, but not forever. Okay, no for now, but not forever. It's the easiest way to just very respectfully excuse yourself from a perceived opportunity, right? And the second is, if it's not extraordinary, skip it, because you have to be extraordinary in this business to make it work. And all of you can do that, but if it's not extraordinary, skip it.
Can he have he wants his easy back.
You want your,
He wants his,
that was easy.
yeah, he wants it back, so here.
That was easy.
There you go. So I want to open up the floor to questions. To anybody who's been sitting here having questions. You know, now's the time. I know they're going to be here for a little bit afterwards, but these are busy guys and they're going to be on their way. So now's the time to ask any possible question you can have for any one of them about their business, about life, whatever it is. Brand new, existing agent, been here doing it for 10 plus whatever years, it doesn't matter. It's your stage now to ask questions. Who's up first?
This is scary.
Who's up first? Here we go.
Nice.
So I'm thinking about joining my wife in real estate. I've been around it my whole life. My dad, my wife, my brother, listened to the stories for thousands of years, and but I've listened also to you guys. You already gave me the answer. How to start your business? Open house, open house, open house. Would you guys agree? And if you don't, then what would you say? Because I'm not a big web drip looking kind of guy.
My first question, does she know you want to join her?
We've talked.
Okay. You're stuck now.
So listen, this is where like the complex piece of behavioral styles comes into play. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And what we talk about in real estate as far as finding business is we refer to those things as levers. And there's typically 4 to 5 levers that are consistently delivering results. Anything from open houses to Sphere and referral database to FSBOs and expireds and circle prospecting. But there's proven things, and what you've got to do is you've got to figure out what is your lever. We always talk to our agents about major in one, minor in a second, right? So typically, and I'll just tell you, there's no right answer to this. It's going to be the one that you'll do. The one that you'll do consistently and with intention is the one that you need to focus on, right? For me, I built my entire business off of open houses and Sphere. And I was almost exactly like this. It was just every single day, 30 hours a week, open houses, relentless. It doesn't matter if it was 115 degrees. When everybody else was using that as an excuse, I was giving myself an opportunity to double down and take my market share while everybody else was, safely in their air-conditioned houses, not making any deals. So you got to figure out, and if you haven't kind of explored what your behavioral style is and what your strengths are, there's lots of resources for doing that, but plug into that and then figure out what that lever is going to be, and then just be relentless in your pursuit of that thing. And you have to understand that in our business, success is sequential. It's absolutely not simultaneous. You will not get immediate results from anything that you choose. It can happen, but creating results in our business, we talk about amateurs leap for their dreams, pros build a bridge. You're gonna have to think like a pro immediately and know that your effort is building a bridge to a lagged measure, which is a closing.
Briefly, open house, when I know some of you guys are not full-time realtors maybe. When I had my nightclub, I did not want to let go, so I was doing open houses, and then I fell asleep at my first open house. And that's when I realized that I had to get into. One thing I think, and you guys are professionals that do the open houses, the biggest mistake people do is that sometimes people call me and say, I want to borrow your sign to do an open house. I go, why wouldn't you want to market yourself? Most importantly, you got to know every surround. If you're going to do an open house, you just can't show up. You don't know if you're being auditioned. Maybe somebody doesn't have an agent. They want to hire you to maybe list their house or sell or buy this house. If you don't know all the surrounding sales of the house that you're picking that day, all the schools, then you're making a huge mistake. You've got to know, because again, if somebody may be testing you, say, okay, do you know the schools in this area? And if you say you don't, you may have lost a potential listing. So if you're going to do the open houses, and these guys are pros at it, I've got people that will do open houses now. You've got, I mean, to me, the Republic gives you, you can look in MLS. I would study every house around there sold, what's available, because you need to have that data to be able to support the comps.
So, we've started a group called Ask Jeff and Phil for anyone that wants to continue the conversation. It's on Facebook group, because I feel that in answering this question, my answer is going to be a little bit different. I think that agents should go out and see more houses to grow their business, because the challenge is that we are too focused as an industry on how do we grow our own business, and we've lost the idea that we're serving the client. And the way that we're going to serve the client in the future more is by offering them something of value, and our value to the client is becoming a house expert, so that we can help them find homes that are not listed on the internet, and that we can sell houses for top dollar instead of just being more focused on ourselves. I mean, I have signs, because I got to bring them out because I brought them.
Oh my God.
Join the fight against commission compression. Oh, join the fight? Yeah. One more sign, right?
Gosh.
Join the fight against commission compression. Okay? Because we have lost our value
those.
for the client, and that the way that we're going to gain it back is by doing a better job of understanding our product. I mean, I began in the software industry before I got into this industry, and in that industry, we had to understand our product before we would sell it. And we've been taught during the agent-centric era that we are in now that our product is ourselves. And I don't believe that our product is that. It is one of service, and how we're going to service our clients better. And when you do that, it's been the key to my growth. And why we sell more houses, because of how we drive value for our clients in every meeting that we have. And we're not focused on ourselves, we're focused on how we can help them. And the way that you can help them is be better at your job. And the key to that is making sure that you understand the product that you are selling.
Do we scare the heck out of you? Are you going to work with your wife now?
I've been scared a long time.
Next question.
Who's got the next question?
What was the name of that Facebook page?
Ask Jeff and Phil.
Jeff and Phil Original.
Jeff and Phil Originals is what it's called. Jeff and Phil Originals on
Sorry.
Facebook.
What does your follow-up look like after you meet someone at an open house?
Who are you asking?
Oh, good question.
All? What's your follow-up look like?
One agent, one question, so we can.
So,
Yeah, we agree.
Pick one.
pick the agent you want.
Jason.
Smart move.
We all pick Jason
I have
too.
no answer. I pick him too.
Open houses, here's the deal. Let me start by working backwards real quick, and I'll try to answer this in 2 minutes. First is the setup for the open house. If you're going to get up and you're going to spend 4 hours in an open house, then make sure that you do the right things to prepare for the open house. Your car better look good, because if I walked up to a house and you had a dirty car, I wouldn't hire you as my agent. You better look good, because if you look like crap, I'm not going to hire you as my agent. You better smell good. You better prep that house, right? Because people are aware of what's going on when they meet you, right? Now, to counter actually Bobby's point about knowing the market, obviously you want to know as much as you can. But I also go as it's better to be there than not there in the act as if model, right? Like, the thing about the open house is, I always see, and I taught so many open house classes where people come in an open house and this is exactly what happens. Hi, this is 3,800 square feet, there's a tier bedroom, and then the master's upstairs, hope you enjoy your time, let me know if you have any questions. And then they sit back down, they just wait for you to walk around. Like, they'll hand you a Plano, and they'll let you do your thing, and if they have questions, then you get to talk to them, right? But that's not it, it's an art form. You gotta warm these people up, you gotta ask them questions. A lot of times on the weekend, people ride bikes. They come in, they got a helmet on, whatever. Where'd you guys go riding today? Oh, I went up north to Carefree. Oh my gosh, actually, no, I always wanted to do that. I wanted to try that, or whatever the case is, right? Like, you got to engage. And you got to ask questions, not about the house. The biggest mistake people make in this business is they keep talking about the stupid house. It's not about the house. This guy doesn't do 90 million a year about the house. He does it because he built relationships. This is a relationship business. Build a relationship with those people. So when they leave there, and you actually, and this is crazy, but this is like, it works. If you're sitting in an open house and it's not your listing, right? And that house happens to be a house that's overpriced or it's not that great, tell them that. You wanna know why you tell them that? Because you're the only one that told them that day the truth about that house. And they're gonna say, you know what? I actually like Bobby because he told me not to buy that house. He's honest. We're not going there necessarily to sell that house. We're going there to get a client, right? So be smart. That's all I can say is be smart in your approach when you're doing these open houses. We go there to get clients. We go there to try to find people, right? The follow-up is, I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to follow. Call them, hey, you know, don't be, I don't know, you don't want to be intrusive about it, right? But you want to follow up, hey, how's it going? How was this? And don't talk about the house. You said that you were going, did your daughter win her soccer game? Yeah, they won the soccer game, right? Relationships take a while to convert, right? To buy houses. Or what you do is you say, look, what are you looking for, X, Y, Z? You say, you know what, I got a few things. They're actually not on the market, so you're not going to find them on Realtor.com or Zillow. Let me do this. I'm going to email them to you. If you want to check them out, great. I can open them up for you, but there's just a couple things that may work that it's not in the open market. Can I get your email? Can I get your phone? Because that's the hardest part, is getting the phone number and the email. Once you have that, then you can follow up. So before you worry about following up, let's worry about getting the contact. Then you can do whatever the heck you want to do, right?
But your comment is you're humanizing the person that's at the open house. Act like a human, not a robot.
That's
Because
right.
all of a sudden you warm up, find something that your confidence, find something that you can, that people feel like you're human, then they realize you're not just a body
Just
there.
be a human.
Right.
And be cool. I say this in every presentation I have. Just be cool. Just be a normal person. And then when you're talking to somebody and you're like, you know what, what are you looking for? I'm looking for McCormick Ranch. You know, I have a couple that you might want to see. They're off market, so you're not going to find them online. What's your best email? I'll shoot them over to you. Like, don't ask. When you ask, you don't get. Tell them. People respond better when you say, what is this? Not, I use this example. If I go to a jeans store and the girl comes up and she's like, hey, can I help you? I'm like, no, you can't, because I'm just looking. But she actually grabbed a pair of jeans and brought them over to me like, these jeans would look awesome on you. You should try them on. I got to try those on.
And she sucked you into it, you bought them.
Right? Like, that's sales, guys.
Yeah, right.
So go for it,
Right.
right? So, but humanize it, absolutely.
He was smart.
Next question. Next question.
Thank you.
On the
Is there a
spot.
book, yeah, I know. Is there a book that has greatly impacted, that's a good question, so, that has greatly impacted your career? If so, what is that?
A book that's greatly
You
impacted
read a lot.
career. Who wants it?
I'm not a reader, so I'm not the
I'm
one.
Darren Hardy. What's the book name, Phil?
Jeff took it.
The Compound Effect.
The Compound Effect there.
It's learning how to be focused in your business. The Compound Effect. I listen to it on audio, though. I don't read a lot.
What do you
Don't
like?
learn from us, though. You want to read.
I'm still
Jeremy,
getting
I
wanna make sure you read
it. I read it. It's
I want to talk about growth from all you guys obviously doing it at a very, very high level. How do you guys measure your growth? What do you expect? You know, obviously the point of today is, you know, how to get on top and stay there. But until you get on top, how do you look at growth? How do you measure growth? And what do you expect to grow year over year? We all know businesses aren't built
Sure.
overnight. So until we get there, what do you expect to grow year over year?
Who wants
That's
it?
a great question.
I'll take it.
Well, of course, it's a
Yes.
great
Yeah,
question.
sure.
He's your boss. What do you, he said great question because you guys work together. I mean, come on.
So,
I'm good at this, Jason. I'm good at this.
I'll go back to 2011, right? So from 2012 to 2013, my expectation was, the first one was I was doing like around 13 million, and I just wanted to get to 22 million. So it was basically I needed to grow about half. That was my expectation, because when you're developing systems, it's hard to have just massive explosive growth. But once I got some systems and processes in place, the next year, we doubled our business. I wanted to grow, because once you get past that, you're the most important thing in the transaction, and that you get people to help, as we explained, giving up the process or getting people to help you, then you can really get out and meet more people and grow relationships and work on the things that matter and grow in your business, which is prospecting, negotiating, and presenting, which I learned from Darren Hardy. And my goal was to get 4 hours of appointments a day, meaning that in the book he talks about there's a stopwatch. When they begin talk, not when you knock on the door, not when you make the phone call, when they start talking, you hit start. When they stop talking, you hit stop, right? 4 hours of talking with people every single day was the key of how we took the business from 25 million to 50 million. Then we had to improve it from 13, 14, and 15. Because once you go through a massive growth level, then you need to backfill with processes and people to catch up when you go through this massive process. So it was like 20% to 30%, 15 and 16. And last year, 2016, we grew by 60 million. So we grew about another 70%. But once you get to 50 million and going to 60 million, it was let's see, somewhere in that range. You get the idea. But it's called leveling up, is where I was trying to get to, is that as you increase your business, then you need to add a person or a system to get to the next level, because you got to backfill as you're, expanding your business.
Jeremy, great question, by the way. I do want to answer that one real quick. So, I kind of what you said before. I hate to lose. I think we all hate to lose. And whatever you did last year, January 1st doesn't mean squat. You're starting new. You're starting zero. So that, to me, right there fires me up. I don't care how much money I did in 2017, 2018, brand new slate. So you cannot get content. You cannot get depressed. You got to start over, but you got to be fired up. There's going to be listings you lose. There's going to be sales you lose. But at the end of the day, whatever you did a year ago, 2 years ago, that's in the past. It's you moving forward, and you got to have a fire in your belly. I think we've all said it. You said it too, about hating to lose. I hate to lose. I hate to lose. My daughter lost a game 20 years ago in T-ball. I'm still pissed off. and it carries over. It carries over. So, that girl should have caught that ball.
Sir.
I forgot which one. I'm a new realtor, and I forgot which person said it, but he said the road to success is through failure. I want to know which, I don't want to say biggest failure, but what is the failure that you would, share that?
What's your biggest failure?
Well, yeah, that was me that
Brad
said
is
that.
taking
Well, here's the idea: is there's really not biggest failures. It's just an accumulation of failures, right? And let me tie this back into the open house thing here for you. We'll just use open houses as a place of learning from failure. It's extremely important that we're practicing building our skills and how we relate to people, right? How we build relationships and how we articulate our value. And early on in the stages of doing open houses, you'd go through this and you'd have just an awkward interaction. It just wouldn't feel right, and that person would leave, and you'd sit down and just be like, ugh, I suck at this. And you got to embrace the suck at times. You really do have to embrace the suck. But here's the thing. Failure offers you an opportunity to evaluate what just happened. Evaluate what just happened. What did I do? What did I say? What could I have done better? How can I change my message and articulate it a different way next time? And then you pick yourself up and you try it again. And you keep going through that process until you find a sweet spot where you begin to win, right? And then you've got to evaluate why you're winning. What am I doing well? And how can I do more of what I'm doing well? Failure is absolutely our greatest teacher. And I know that we just see that quote on Instagram and we're scrolling down, we're like, yeah, bro, failure, right? But here's the thing. When you look through just the quotation of failure is our greatest teacher, and you really evaluate it and sit on it for a minute, think about the impact that it can have on your life. Every single time you fail, You have an opportunity to hide, or you have an opportunity to change. You have an opportunity to evaluate and build skill off of that evaluation. And that's what great successful people do. They simply fail forward over and over and over again, and failure stops defining them. And we deal with this a lot in our business, especially early on, because we deal with fear and reluctancy and rejection constantly. And we interpret that as failure, and that kills our confidence, and it keeps us from moving forward. So you have to really have power over your mind and control of your emotions and be able to understand, awesome, I just failed. Awesome, I just got rejected. That offers me an opportunity to progress. And once you start seeing it that way, and that little nervous feeling stops creeping up in your stomach, and you stop tucking your tail between your legs and going home and watching Netflix for the rest of the afternoon, right? Because that's what we do, because we're scared, and our ego just got hurt because we got rejected. Like, this is what great successful people do. And I'm not even talking about me or anyone on this. I'm talking about people exponentially higher than us. We're just modeling after the example that they've set success through failure.
Love it. Got one more.
Fail forward, fail often, and fail fast. That's a good one.
I have a real specific failure I could give it.
I gotta get through questions. Carl, go.
Oh, well,
You had a question.
Well, follow up to Jeremy's question. Because when I try to compare myself to anybody else, and I see these huge numbers, let's say I'm an individual agent, and I see these big numbers, like a retailer, they add 100 doors, and they have huge increase in sales. As an individual agent, I can't compare myself with a team, or with a 3-person team. I can't compare myself to a 30-person team. So if you look at the market, and you say, wow, we've had this much growth in the marketplace, and I'm an agent that's embracing suckiness, right? Striving towards, I'm going to be the best that I can be, right? If I have that attitude and I take that, what type of growth? If I'm going to grow, if I'm going to put everything into it, I'm an individual agent, and I'm just looking at myself, what's a good number? If I increase my business X,
here's what I would say.
Don't feel bad about it.
First of all, don't compare yourself to somebody else. I mean, really, we're all wrong. That's the hardest thing to do. And my only answer would be time. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. None of us started selling the number of homes we did in 1 year, 2 years, 5, 10. So you got to give yourself time, and that's probably my. I'm gonna give you the number.
He wants a number. He wants a number.
You already gave 10 last time. Don't give 10.
To me, when we bring on agents to our team, we go through a process of helping them change their.
I like your answer, by the way. It's okay.
Thank you.
Change their mindset. But if you're doing under 2 million, you really can expect to double your business in a year. Okay? Now, I had an agent that was doing 6 million, and they came to me halfway through, and they were about going to grow their business by 80%, and they were nervous because they wanted to grow faster, and I said, dude, sometimes you just can't grow that fast. But when you're between 15 and 20 transactions, you can go to double. You can go to 15, can go to 30. I think that minimally your expectation is that if you're doing 10, that you could at least do 15. Because it's really just learning to do more of what you're already doing and realizing that it's a lot freaking harder and you're just not giving it enough effort to get there, and that you need to focus, hunker down, and do them faster. Once you get to 30 transactions, then it's more like 50% growth is pretty reasonable. Because you're going through a lot of changes. I don't know if that helps you in numbers. I'm just trying to speak to the different, because our average agent does 6.7 million on the team, but the average agent that joins us does about 2.5 million. So it's just helping them through that process and growing their business.
Let me say it real quick. Carl, I love you, and I owe you an email still. And I will coach you. But let me say this. It's not always about the numbers and the money when you're measuring your growth. I swear to God, and there's a lot of my agents here, they'll tell you, I get more excited when we better up a system or something that we've done in our process that makes everybody a little bit better or makes your business a little bit better. Like, don't measure yourself necessarily against commissions and volume and units. Measure yourself in your own business as well too. Did you get more efficient this week, or today, or that month, or that quarter, right? Like, do you have a better process? It's not always about the money or the commissions. Like, did you get better as a business owner? Did you up your business quality? Okay, so don't get always stuck in the mud, because sometimes, like when you're building your business, sometimes you got to take a step back a little bit. And then we're like, oh, I didn't do the numbers I want. Yeah, but did you get better? Maybe you got better, because sometimes you got to take, it's the old saying, one step back to take 2 steps forward. So don't always measure yourself against money and commissions and units. Measure yourself against your own successes within your business. I think that's really, really important.
I have to add to this. This is a problem that we have in real estate, especially in the middle stages. Is what you really have to be careful of too is that you're not measuring yourself against somebody's GCI, which in our world we have a little joke that GCI equals ECI, ego commission income. Because here's the thing: there's a lot of people whose GCI is climbing and their net income is falling.
Yes.
And you have to be keenly aware of that and be careful that you're not comparing yourself to somebody who's not running a profitable business. And let me tell you, a lot of mid-level teams are not profitable. That's a fact.
I always wondered that. I was in Las Vegas, sorry, but I
No,
gotta
go
step
for
in
it.
here.
Go for it.
I'm in Las
Let's do it.
Vegas, I'm with this team, right? The team did 125 million or something like that last year. I think we hit like 2.25 or something. And I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, ask me, how did you get here? And I go, well, here's my question to you. He had 11 people on staff. And I'm like, how do you make money? Because he didn't produce. So you got 11 people on staff, you're making maybe 20, 25 on the commissions that are coming through, maybe in some cases 90. Like, how are you making money? And the attrition rate, because he had a bunch of agents too. You don't need to have the biggest team, and you don't need to do the most volume to make the most money. Because in the end, I don't care about anything else but how much am I actually taking home. Nothing else matters to me. Zero, nothing. How much money am I making? Period, end of story. And I'm sitting there talking to this guy, I'm like, well, why do you have this person? Why do you have that person? And they're like, well, I go, well, why are you doing that? That doesn't make any sense. That's just an extra body. So to Brandon's point, it's so true. Just because you see that somebody's making 80 million a year or 70 million a year as a team or 60 or 50, yeah, that's great. But what are they paying out? What are their expenses? Is it worth it? Like, there are a lot of teams that do big numbers in this valley that I would sit there and say, I wouldn't trade it for the world at all. So don't always look at the numbers. They are almost always lead you wrong.
Value makes the most.
You guys haven't
Done. None of you guys. I'm just kidding. So that we have time, because we're almost done with the room, I'm going to stop here because we're going to keep going. But you can come up, ask these fine fellows a couple questions before we're done. I want to thank everyone up here. You guys are absolutely fantastic. I mean, I'm going to say rock stars because I don't say rock stars, but truthfully, guys, I mean, top entrepreneurs in real estate are sitting in front of you, who opened their playbook, who shared their lives, who shared their story, shared their business. Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming up here and doing this. I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.